for the bikini, aka Isaac, aka Captain Mac, representing the Speak Up Not Man Up movement. Just want to say, don't ever stop believing. Have a great event, and I love you guys.
Howdy.
Hey AJ, how you doing?
What's up, Kevin? How are you?
I'm all right. It's nice to speak with you again.
Speak with you. Good to have a face chat here in person, live on the amazing technology you have here at Lasso Cast.
Crowdcast, actually. There's actually a podcast called Lasso Cast, so we don't want to confuse
Lasso
them, even
Con.
though
No, don't
that
confuse them.
they're a very good podcast. But
You're Lasso casting.
yeah, so we're on Crowdcast, and to your point, to make the most of it, decided to do a poll for season 2. So I asked the audience what they thought the best episode was, and I picked 5. So in chronological order, we have Carol of the Bells, Rainbow, Man City, No Weddings and a Funeral, and Inverting the Pyramid of Success. So I want you to say your answer for the very end, but for anyone in the audience who hasn't voted yet, please vote.
Okay. Yeah, those are amazing episodes, all of them. I edited the Christmas episode. I edited Man City, and I edited Inverting the Pyramid of Success. And I edit here at home in my office here in Los Angeles. And I drove my friend who lives with me absolutely insane because I was playing all this Christmas music, trying to audition the right music for that episode. It was like March and April. And he's like, "What are you doing? We just went through Christmas." So, you know,
and I thought
it feels like it's like Christmas year round here in my house, it seems, because of listening to all those tunes.
I was gonna say, and I thought the audience had it bad watching the episode in August, but you were doing it in March.
Yeah. We were wondering how that was going to work, how Christmas in August was going to fly, and I think everyone loved it. I mean, it's funny now they look at the Christmas episode, you know, this time of year, and it's just perfect. But in August, it probably was a little odd, and you know, I know that that episode came after episode 3, and everyone was wondering, like, why is the show going off in this bit of a tangent, you know, an outlier story, and it, you know, it was because, of course, you know, we didn't drop all the episodes at the same time, so people, you know, watching it chronologically, it probably didn't make sense, and it was one of the added episodes. You know, that's the great thing about Lasso. It gets so successful that Apple wants, you know, more, so they added those 2 extra episodes. You know, but if you now that you watch the whole season in context, it feels like it's absolutely right, because they absolutely have to celebrate Christmas in Richmond, so it makes sense. And let me also add that the reason, you know, I read this on Twitter all the time. The fans are like, "Why don't the episodes just come to us all at once?" And you can blame us editors for that, and the sound team and the visual effects team, because, you know, we are working on it, you know, as we speak, and trying to get it done as quickly as possible. So, you know, they were absolutely, season 2 was airing while we were finishing up episodes, you know, 6, 7, 8, all the way to the end. And you know, the closest window we had, I think we delivered episode 8 within about a week of it airing, which is really, really close. So, you know, it just shows that there's constant work going on the show. So there you have it.
So yeah, I think our intro didn't play, but
there was an intro.
Ace in the Hole.
Sorry, we'll fix this in post. Let's fix it in post. No one's watching.
You're gonna fix it for us?
You're gonna cut this later, right?
You're gonna fix it for us, right?
I hope so. Somebody.
Yeah. So I was saying, the title of our segment is actually Ace in the Hole, and there's a very good reason behind that. One is I love puns, and 2, you're an ace. You want to tell us a bit about what that is?
Yeah, that was, you know, this show has absolutely changed my life. I never, I've worked as an editor for about 20 years. I never thought that I would, you know, be on a show that people loved so much, let alone a show that I was nominated for an Emmy, let alone, you know, won one. So one of the other amazing things that came out of Ted Lasso is I was welcomed into the American Cinema Editors, which is ACE, and now when I, put my credit up onto the screen, it's required that I use the letters, A.C.E. after. So that's what that stands for. I'm honored to be a part of that, and being a member of ACE is talking to people about what editing is and what editors do. So I'm doing that here with you today. But it was just super excited. They welcomed both me and Melissa McCoy, our other editor, who can't be here today. She's on a trip with her family. But both of us got into ACE, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're two aces, literally two aces.
Yeah.
Aces,
that was actually
aces.
my original title. If Melissa
times.
could come,
She sends her love. Working with Melissa is amazing. We got to work in person at Warner Brothers in an office, and then of course the pandemic hit, and our producers were scrambling trying to get the entire show downloaded onto hard drives so we could take it home and finish it from home. And now we have a bit better technology where we can work remotely. But I miss seeing all my crew in person. But we do get together for parties and things when we can safely. But we've learned to work remotely and in person. But miss that.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue for my next question. You mentioned some people you work with, so tell us more about what you do exactly on the show, and for other people you work with. I believe you work with some Sudeikis guy, right?
Yes, Jay Suds. Yeah, he's the best. He's absolutely amazing. I work with him just like this. We're over a Zoom chat, and we would have a third window up here, which would be playing the show, which is streamed out of my computer here. Well, it's actually streamed out of a computer on the Warner Brothers lot, and we get to work face to face this way. And it's different because usually editors, the producer sits behind, like a couch back here, and the producer will always be back there. So they get to know the back of the editor's head a lot. So when Zoom editing or remote editing came around, it was a total different perspective, because it's now, I can watch the face of Jason as I'm playing the cutback, and it's just really a beautiful experience. And so fun to just watch him completely crack up, when it's all working and all the timing is right, and just to see him laugh at the comedy of the show, and because you can really see, someone can give you notes as an editor, but it's really amazing to see it on their face. You can tell how they're reacting.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really a special experience to be able to make the star of your show laugh and see it in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've loved the whole experience, and and we get to work with them usually late in the process, because they'll have to shoot the entire show. And so last season, for example, we didn't start really editing with Jason until June. And I asked them, did you want to go back in person into the office, which was a challenging thing in times of COVID, because there's all kinds of rules about safety and everything. And he's like, no, this is just working just fine. We're just doing this, so he could be in New York or wherever he needed to be. And so keeping a remote workflow was absolutely a lot of fun. And we would get together for Zoom toasts with the rest of the crew. And we got nominated for Emmy Awards. We would all crack some champagne over the Zoom. So we kept that camaraderie going. But yeah, I'll tell you, to answer your question, I'm a picture editor. So my job is to edit the picture, but I work with an entire team in post-production. We have an amazing sound editing team and mixing team. We have a music editor, and we have a visual effects team. And we have two amazing producers too. We have Bill Lawrence, who's our executive producer and creator. And of course, we work with Jason, and Brendan comes in and gives a lot of notes. Brendan is our football guru. He's always watching to make sure that we're completely accurate in how football is displayed on the show. And Kip Kroger is our supervising producer, and he's my immediate boss. And he, hired me and gave me the incredible, believed in me, absolutely believed in me to work on this project. And I'm forever grateful for that. But the process is, it begins in a picture edit, and that's a little misleading, because you'd think that we only work with picture, but we do work with sound, and Melissa and I are always putting in music choices that we think are working, and we'll allow those to be in the temp, and sometimes Jason will hear that and absolutely loves it, and it just works. that Freddie Mercury Queen song at the end of episode 2 this season when Jamie's walking back onto the field for the first time in the snow. We just put that to the scene early in the cut, and it just worked, and it never changed. So yeah, we work with this whole team, and it's a truly collaborative effort. Just like soccer, picture editing is collaborative, and so I'm at the very impressed to be at the center of that, and I'll move things to different teams to help with things. And I think everyone should know this. A lot of fans don't know this, but none of Ted Lasso is shot in a stadium in front of
You're kidding me, right?
actual live fans. Well, see, there you go. It's all shot over green screen out in a field, a practice field, and we have a green curtain that's about 4 feet high that runs the whole length of the field, and the entire stadium is completely added in visual effects. And we're using Selhurst Park where Crystal Palace plays, and everything is completely changed. The crowd is added. We are adding. They shoot about. I'd say about 25 different crowd members doing different cheers or getting upset or clapping or like yelling at the ref, and they shoot them all over green screen, and each one of them is individually added by a visual effects team. So when we're going back and watching this, it becomes a bit of Where's Waldo. You can see some similar people around, but I don't want to spoil that magic effect. It looks beautiful. The work that our visual effects team does, and we don't get to see that till the end of the process. The football scenes that we cut are all done over green screen, and of course the sound is also added later too, of what it sounds like. So we're cutting it very much knowing that it's going to get better and better and better, and it's just really beautiful to watch it all the way to the end. So that's what a picture editor does. We're kind of at the center of that process in terms of making sure that all these teams, our music editor gets material from us. We have an amazing music editor. In the episode Rainbow, for example, the Rolling Stones song, that song runs through the show for about 7.5 minutes. That song is only about 5 minutes long. And our music editor edited it in a way that it feels like it's one fluid song. And we were a little nervous. Our music supervisor was, we have to take this to the Rolling Stones and get their permission to use that song, but they listened to it, and they're like, this is absolutely amazing. So that's, and it's rare that a band will allow you to edit their song to make it longer, but they went with it. So so it's just a massive, big team of people that we all come together, and the fun parts are when we all get together on Zoom to watch the shows down, and all the different departments are there, sound and music and everyone, and we all come together and give notes, and that's always it's a bit like a crowd screening, and it's fun. And Jason is always and Brendan are always quite hilarious on those calls.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned earlier, you joked earlier about how I was saying we missed the intro for our slide because we're a bit over time. You said, "Oh, we'll just fix it in post." So
yeah, or you play it at the end.
Yeah. So that brings me to our next question. Something I see on Twitter about almost every other week is someone will exclaim, "Please release the Ted Lasso bloopers." So AJ, you're probably the best person suited to answer this question. Do the Ted Lasso bloopers exist? The people need to know.
Well, I want to say first, our cast is just so incredible. They don't make any mistakes. They just
well, obviously that's why we have all the Emmys,
go,
right?
and we have the easiest job in the world.
That's why you have all the Emmys.
We just cut the opening slate off and just let it roll. No, they do. It's amazing how good they all are. So there are not a ton of bloopers, but they are there, and they're very fun just to see them all having fun with each other. And we keep them. My assistant editor and I will keep them in a folder. Like when we're watching things, we'll put it in there. We get a good laugh out of it. And we did actually have after the Emmys, we had a gathering of all of post-production because we wanted to have a rap party, but we didn't have time for it. So we had a gathering where we all got together, and Jason was there, and Bill Lawrence was there, and we did. My assistant surprised everybody by throwing a few of the bloopers onto a reel and showing them, and it was hilarious to watch. I'll say that the hardest person to crack is Brett, Goldstein, because he has to keep that that Roy Kent scowl really serious, and he cannot so much as crack a smile at all.
Just ruin the scene, right?
So he is really good at not cracking, and when he does, you'll see it. It just starts like a dam, a little leak, and then the dam just bursts, and he'll just completely laugh. But he does a great job not to break it. I'd say Nick Mohammed is, Nate will laugh a lot at the silliness of the scene, and he and Hannah have a funny thing, and she's talked about this, where they have to not look each other directly in the eye, that they look just to the left or right, because they'll catch each other's eye and start laughing. So they have some of the silly bits. And then some of the bloopers we leave in the show. One of the best bloopers is in the show, and it's in episode season 1 finale, episode 10, "The Hope That Kills You," and it's where Ted is talking to Rebecca in the office about chaos, and she's encouraging him that every disadvantage has an advantage, and doesn't that mean if you don't know anything about the game that you can use that to your advantage and create chaos? He's like, chaos, that's it. And he turns and runs out of the room, and he mistimes that jump. He wanted to like click his heels up and then run out the door, and he completely mistimes it, and Jason just smashes his head on the top of the door frame. And that was entirely real. And the director emailed me the day that was shot and said, "You're going to see a crazy shot, and you absolutely need to use it, because Jason like cut his head, and they had to bring the set medic in. So that has to go in the show." So that was not intended at all. And there it is. And and interesting there, because he had hurt himself, and he was a little shocked. He kind of got up and said like something like, "Oh, I'm fine." But we used that, and he put in a little line later, which is like, "The chaos has already begun." And so those are little things that Jason will do in post. Like he'll try to sneak an extra line in, and we call it an ADR, dialogue replacement, and we put it in so that there's a little extra layer of comedy that wasn't written and is actually thought about in editing. Yeah.
So AJ, if I understood correctly, you mentioned that there is a folder of bloopers. Will these ever be released to us?
It's not my call. I mean, a lot of shows do release those, and some don't, because you don't want to sort of break the fourth wall there. Maybe we'll see. I'll
run up the chain.
I'll see what happens. Sure, I'll ask about it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sure everyone here has their own stories of how Ted Lasso has positively changed their lives. So AJ, what's it like working on a show that so many people can relate to and learn from? And for you, especially considering you have so much impact on the final product that we see.
Well, I mean, the show is absolutely beautifully written, and it starts with it's such intentional television. The writers, Jason, Brendan, and Joe Kelly have had this idea for many years, going back to when Brendan and Jason were in an improv troupe in Amsterdam, and I think he's joked that they came up with the idea of the show when they were on mushrooms, and so I love when you see Coach Beard have a mushrooms joke later in season 2.
That was a real reference.
So So they've been thinking about this for a long time, and then they brought on Bill Lawrence, who is just working with him. It's just like a master class in cutting comedy. Bill is really good at it really just honing into the edit and figuring out how we can move it along and pace it along. And I've learned so much working with him. So it really starts with the writers, and then of course it gets to the set, and then with the amazing production design team, and then the incredible performances, the beautiful reactions that you see, and the friendship between Rebecca and Keely, and the scowls of Roy and Nate finding his voice, and then overdoing it a bit, and then Sam Obasanya and his amazing performance. So they all bring it together, and Jamie Tart, of course. I could name them all. The whole cast is a true ensemble, and there's so many character backstories. Normally when we had a comedy, it's you would have like an A story, a little bit of a B story, and a very small C story. But Lasso, we have a D, E, F, and G story. So that's why the episodes are very full. And that was something early on we thought, because I've been trained as an editor that you have to kind of keep it going and keep the pace going so people don't, lose the comedy of it and get to the next joke as quickly as possible. But working with Jason and Bill, it became about really slowing it down and letting the show breathe. And as Jason is always telling us in editing, leave room for the inhales and leave room for the exhales, because that's very important in this show that is so intentional and is a meditation on being vulnerable and being your best self and really being mindful in the moment of kindness and compassion. And so to leave the pause for that. And so that was a different type of editing that I got to learn. So it's an absolute process. So when you say that yes, I'm grateful that at the end, they say that editing is the final rewrite. It is written first by the writers, and then it's written in on the set with the actors. They add a lot of level of improv, and things are changed on the set. And Jason is coming up with new ideas that are not in the script. And then editing is kind of the final rewrite. It's writing with picture and sound, and changes can be made, things can be removed, things can be reordered and shuffled around, and we do a lot of that, and it gives an entire different feel. So yeah, it's absolutely beautiful to be a part of all that, and yeah, it's changed my life in the sense that I'm really in love with what I do as an editor, and every day I'm just, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm working on this, this incredible performance that is just been so loved and resonates with everyone, and has become much more than a TV show. It's a vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So just quickly share my story
Mm-hmm.
for how Ted Lasso has positively impacted my life. Well, I floss more, less judgmental. Of course, I
Mm-hmm.
believe more, and
Mm-hmm.
even saw my podiatrist like Roy did.
Mm-hmm.
The one area I didn't expect the show to help me with was with grief. So you
Mm.
know how in season 2 finale, Sam's father asked him to look for a sign from the universe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my father tragically passed away in a car accident almost 7 years to the date of the show's funeral episode. So seeing Ted, who's always so positive, and then seeing Rebecca, who's always so strong, even people like that are dealing with their previous traumas from their fathers, it made me realize that I had to
Mm.
deal with my own. So I just wanted to personally thank you and the team for making that episode.
So well said, brother. Thank you for sharing that. And I relate to that as well. My dad passed away in an accident as well
Oh
about
wow,
15
I'm
years
sorry to hear
ago.
that.
Yeah, and I think he was really into motivation, and he was a teacher, and he loved motivating his students and his classes, and I think he would have loved Ted Lasso. And I said that to Jason when I was realizing that fathers were going to become such a big theme of the show, and we see that in the season 1 and in the Darks episode where Ted first says his dad passed away, and then you see it with Jamie struggling with his dad, and there's little hints of it going throughout, and then it just keeps building to where we learn that Ted's dad committed suicide, and the trauma that he's just not dealt with has just kept it pent up inside, and now he's feeling the freedom to be vulnerable with the rest of the people around him in his life, and he's getting the support of such strong women, such a divine feminine that Ted has support for. He has support of Rebecca and of Dr. Sharon, and even of his ex-wife, and Keely, and so he's getting a lot of love there to release all this. And I said to Jason too how I thought a lot about my dad in this show, because I look, I've admitted this. I cry editing the show, as people I think or
Well,
cry
you're
watching
human.
the show.
If you
Yeah.
didn't cry, you wouldn't be right for this show, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that scene where he says in No Weddings and a Funeral, where he's thinking about his dad, who he absolutely is furious at and kind of has a lot of hatred to, that he remembers the moment where he read him a story as a kid, and he was a good dad, he says, and I don't think he realized that. That got me every time watching that, because I thought a lot about my own dad too. So yeah, I really resonate with your story. There's something in this show for everyone to feel, and we talk about that all the time. Like when we're editing, we're like, are you feeling all the feels of this moment? And each of the elements of editing, the picture choices, the pacing, the music is a character, the score is a character, the visual effects, the sound effects. Each of these elements contributes to the feels. And then when we watch it all down, we're like, sometimes there's just silence on the Zoom chat, and we're like, wow, we just really felt all the feels there. So yeah, feeling all the feels is a saying we say a lot.
In sports, they have advanced statistics. If they have for television, feels per episode, Ted Lasso would be way ahead of the competition. Yeah. So to get into that funeral episode, as soon as you agreed to chat with me, sorry, I'm not.
Sure. Well, I'm happy to be here with you guys. I just love all the posts that you do. I tweeted today that Ted Lasso fans are swonderful. It's an amazing group out there. I love reading everything on Twitter. I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. I never believed that I would get to work on a show like this and to win an Emmy for it. There's my Emmy back there. This is one of the show's 7 Emmys for editing, and I certainly share that with all my team, and our sound mixing team also won an Emmy as well. And so it just really feels wonderful to be recognized, and I love what I'm listening to on this Lasso Con. So thank you guys very much for having me.
I was gonna say, was your Emmy always there, or did you purposely put it there for us today?
Yeah, no, I always keep it there. I always keep it back over there, and I'm waiting for the little plaque that's going to come from the Television Academy that will have my name on it to be engraved. But it was just a magical night, and I even have this
Brendan
picture.
was there, right?
Yeah, he was, and I have this picture somebody sent me. Hold this up so you can see it. It's me and Brendan there, the night of the Emmys. Yeah, it's funny. We were there. We had no idea that Brendan was going to come announce the winner. The Emmy for editors, and we were just sitting at the table, and Mel and I looked at each other like, oh my God, it's got to be one of us. And Mel's like, no, it's you. I'm like, no, Mel, it's you. She's like, no, it's you. And we just kept fighting it. Who was gonna? But when they announced my name, I mean, the blood just drops from your face, and you're just completely in awe as you walk up there. So it was a beautiful moment. And I said to Brendan after, when I was backstage, I'm like, did you know that we were going to win? And he's like, no, it could have gone to Hacks. It could have gone to The Flight Attendant. It could have gone to any of these beautiful shows. And I was nominated in a group of all women editors. I think that's beautiful. I was the only guy in the group, but
wow.
It's just a really great group of friends of mine out there. So
yeah. So thank you. AJ, I think we're about to get kicked off. So I just want to say quickly, for next year's Emmy, if you haven't thought about your submission yet, one we would probably recommend is No Weddings and a Funeral, because that actually won our poll for best episode of season 2.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just really want to thank you again for your time, AJ. I really appreciate it. Happy holidays, and all the best with season 3.
Happy holidays.
We're all looking forward to it.
Thanks everybody out there. Thanks for doing this. Heaven knows I tried.